Hello my friends and welcome to the Lavinia World YouTube channel. Katy here from Eastwick's Paper and Ink, and I'm excited to be joining you as a new video design team member here at Lavinia World. For today's video, I'm going to be showcasing the Elements ink pads and this feather stamp from Lavinia Stamps. I've got some hot press watercolor paper and 100% cotton. It's the Strathmore 500 series, and I'm going to be using the Mermaid, Mulberry, and Merlot ink pads from Lavinia Stamps, the Elements ink pads. And then I've got a little cube of Silvery Shimmer Delicata ink. Now before we jump into the project, I'm going to quickly show you a little up close in detail of the Elements ink pads. Now if you're familiar with the Catherine Pooler ink pads, these are very similar. The case is the same, the foam pad is the same, the inks are different. These are much more saturated in color, and you're going to see that here in a second as I start to add the ink to paper. So a lot of similarities, but these are perfect for exactly what they say, for blending and distressing, watercoloring, that type of stuff, what we're going to do here today. So I'm literally just taking a foam blending tool and applying ink to paper. I'm not trying to be perfect. There's no rhyme or reason, just adding the ink to paper, and I went from Mermaid to Mulberry to Merlot. The Merlot is a little bit darker of a purple, so this one that I'm putting on is Mulberry. And I will say that if you're interested in these Element ink pads, I would go over to Lavinia World's shop. I'll have everything linked in the description box below, and sign up for email notifications for when they come back in stock. They are out of stock at the moment, but by signing up, it lets you know firsthand as soon as they become restocked. Also, I think that it helps Lavinia World to purchase inventory. I don't know that for sure. I'm just guessing, because it lets them know how many people are interested. So if they've already placed an order, then they know that maybe another order needs to be placed to get some shipments in. So sign up for those emails if you're interested in these ink pads. They seem to be sold out everywhere, so at least you can get notified as soon as they get restocked here. So now I'm just adding some water. Now I debated to add Perfect Pearls, but I'm going to be using that Delicata ink, so I decided to just go with plain clean clear water. And you see how velvety that paper looks. I mean, it's just incredible. It's even more stunning in person. So I'm taking the feather stamp, and I'm just going to start stamping with the Delicata ink. Now, you can use any silver ink that you have. I am a big fan of the Delicata inks. One little tip that I have is you're going to see that when I stamp this, my stamp, the ink is kind of dry. There's not a lot there. But one of the things about these types of ink pads for the Delicata inks, they're spongy, and it's easy to get heavy-handed and push too hard. So I actually prefer for my ink pad, my Delicata ink pads, to be a bit drier. That way I can build up the color, and it won't take away the detail of the stamp. And I went with the Delicata ink too because I had thought about embossing, and or even we had been talking about adding foiling to cards and things like that. I thought about using the sticky what's it called, this sticky embossing powder, and using the gilding flakes, but I didn't like it. I thought it took away from the detail of the stamp, and I thought that the Delicata ink was perfect to maintain the detail while giving it a subtle shimmer to the panel. So I am simply going to go around and stamp this feather, and the main feather there in the center I stamp 3 times. The other feathers I'm going to do I stamp twice. That way the main full feather could be the star of the show, if you will. It'll stand out a little bit more, and the others kind of just rest in the background. And they look like little trees, really. You could you know, make these into little trees if you wanted to. It's such a beautiful stamp. So once I get all of these stamped, this one I might do 3 times because it was a little lighter. I can't remember. I think I did do it 3 times too, but maybe twice because the first one was in it and I thought it was 3 times. Anyway, so once I get these all stamped up, the panel measures that I'm stamping on right now 4 3/8 by 5 5/8. And so I do intend to trim this down. I just wanted to give myself some room for stamping and everything, to be able to cut everything down, and then you get kind of a nicer pattern paper, if you will, you know, for the pattern when you go and you trim stuff down. Now when I trim cardstock like this, I do, you know, the 1/8 of an inch at a time. 1/8 of an inch one side, flip it around, and so on. So here we're just finishing up the panels. So I showed you that I'm going to be using the a die set, alphabet die set from the Greetery, and this I cut the letters out with some black cardstock and layered it 3 times. So there's 3 layers of each letter, and I'm spelling out the word dream. And the little tool, I'm using a little stencil tool to help line up your letters. This is actually the first time I used it, and it actually worked out really, really well to keep everything straight without trying to mess with a ruler and hold everything. And so I really like that. So the die cut I'm going to use next is the word big, so dream big. And that top piece is, I made some glitter paper with some double-sided adhesive and just like a mirror ball glitter, and die cut that out. And then I layered that with some heavyweight white cardstock, 3 layers. And now I'm going to finish the inside of the panel, the inside piece. So for this, I took the delicata ink and did a light stamping because there was tons of ink already on there. And then I'm just taking the foam blending tools, just the ink that's on the foam blending tool, and adding it over top, just to give a little shimmer on the inside with the colors that we used. And you can't really see it, you know, on the camera, but I think it's just a nice little touch with the colors, and that silver gives a little sparkle when you see it in the light. So now we're going to put the panels together. We're going to just using an A2 size card base, side folding, and black cardstock, and I'm going to adhere that down, and then we'll add the inside panel, and that's going to wrap up the card for me today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't yet subscribed, please go ahead and do that now. We are really trying to grow the channel, so also make sure to share and let everybody know about the channel, and don't forget to ring the bell and select all notifications. That way you'll be notified each time a video has been uploaded. And in the description box below is going to be a list of all the products that I used today, as well as our Facebook group, Anything Lavinia, and a couple of the challenges that you can participate in. I want to thank you all so much for joining me today. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you in the next video.